But on today's episode of the Next Level Marriage Podcast, we are going to be talking about how to level up in our marriage. So, next level marriage, level up.
When I realized that um, I don't communicate effectively and things like that, if I think I do, then I can't get help.
Two people get in the cane mode,
Okay.
right? And
Yes.
they begin to say things that their their IQ has shrinked up, and now they're saying things more out of emotion, out of hurt, out of pain, out of fear. I am a cause of this conflict. It's and I'm absolutely wrong if I think that it's only the other person. I am absolutely a cause
Yeah. And
in
I can
this
say that
conflict.
from the perspective of it takes two.
This is how we learn what real love proves. Next level marriage podcast. We're calling you to something deeper, something pure and true. Male and female, just the way he plays.
Welcome to another episode of the Next Level Marriage Podcast. I am one half of your dynamic duo. I go by the name of Dr. James Bird. And to my side, my lovely wife, and she goes by the name of.
Dr. Angel Bird.
And together we are
The Lovebirds.
And once again, we are excited to have an opportunity to speak to marriages and relationships out there all across the whole wide world through this medium of the internet, YouTube, podcast, Apple Music, all these streaming platforms. We are excited. And as always, I ask you to do me a favor, smash that like button. Go ahead, smash it. If you are not a subscriber, take a few seconds and subscribe to the podcast. Hit the bell for notifications so you can be notified first and foremost when these episodes come out. All right. And man, we we got a lot of feedback on last week's episode with the Jacksons, and so periodically from time to time we will hit something current in events that's going on that's really big, and see how that relates to our marriages and our relationships. All right. But on today's episode of the Next Level Marriage Podcast, we are going to be talking about how to level up in our marriage. So, next level marriage, level up. And so we want to talk about how can you go from bad relationship to a good relationship, or maybe a good relationship to a great relationship, or even a great relationship to an extraordinary relationship. So your marriage doesn't have to be in the tank for you to get something out of this episode. If you have an automobile, you don't wait till it's falling apart before you go get it checked on. No, you keep regular maintenance, oil changes, keep the tires rotated, do all that good stuff. And so just think about that with your relationship. You can get just regular maintenance and tune-ups on your relationship right here on the Next Level Marriage Podcast. All right. And so with that, in thinking about what things we can do to level up our marriage, I actually want to start with this statement that I think we need to, and I'm speaking for myself first and foremost, but all relationships, I think we need to focus on leveling up in the areas where our relationships are bad. And what I mean by that is when we get married, we sign up for this relationship and we normally speak this vow that says for better or worse. And so we need to level up for the worst. And the reason I say that is because I don't have any problem with the best. The best is easy. The best parts of my spouse are easy. It's the parts that come off to me as the worst parts, the parts that I don't jive with, the quirk, the things that may irritate me or whatever, things that may be different about her than me. Than you, than me. I was speaking on parts of males and her than us, but than you than me. It's the worst. It's the worst parts, and that's the parts in our relationship that we have to level up on, and myself. That's the parts that I have to level up on. I do. I I love the best parts. That's just too easy. If it was all the best, then we wouldn't have need for counselors like we are and things like that. But real life, it's not always the best. Sometimes it's the worst. Sometimes it's the worst conflict. Sometimes it's the worst. We go through seasons in our lives and things like that. Things happen, financial crisis, health crisis, children's, all kind of different crises happen in and through our lives. And in those times, that's when we need to level up. That's when I realized that I have not always done a good job at leaning in to things that are more important, what's most important, which is first and foremost the relationship, but even I think above that, the person I'm in relationship with. Sometimes when the worst shows up, conflict sneaks in because we don't always communicate the depths of really what's going on in us. I know I don't always do that. And so now when conflicting perceptions or point of views or disagreements or misunderstandings and things like that pop up, now I'm tuned in to that particular conversation, that particular disagreement, that particular misunderstanding. And when I'm tuned into that, I'm actually I got a blind spot to the overall real deep issue and point of view, or not point of view, but the deep issue of what's really going on in our relationship in that moment, or in the person in that moment, and myself in that moment. So I think that is, and I when I think about a lot over 30 years of counseling and things like that, people that we've counseled as well, I'm like, that's really what we're doing counseling for. We're doing counseling to talk about how do we do better in these parts about your relationship that you're struggling in and you're suffering in. Mm-hmm. And so since we're talking about leveling up in our marriage, I think first and foremost, I got to learn to level up in the worst. And sometimes that's difficult, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't really know. I mean, I got a lot of emotions going on behind this, what I'm saying right now, because in the worst times, I remember I think you said this last episode, or maybe it might have been the episode before that, but you said, I think it was last episode, you said like in a matter of a few moments during a conflict.
No, that was the one before.
It was the one before. Mm-hmm. You can say something that, you can't take back. You can say something they didn't hurt it now. It could be damaging to the relationship or whatever. And so, that's the part I really need to focus on leveling up more in. And because when I don't level up during the worst times of our relationship or the worst times of our communication, I am really, I'm playing a major role in creating a drift or a distance in our connectivity, in our emotional connection, and the feeling of love. We have a deep-rooted love because we've been married for 34 years, almost 35 years now, and together even longer than that. Mm-hmm. But we don't just want to know that I love this other person. It's nice to also feel love, feel good, feel, things like that. And when I'm not leveling up during the toughest times of conflict or the toughest times of our relationship or some point in our life, then I don't even realize how much damage I'm doing to the overall intimacy in our relationship, and how tough that is on you.
Yeah. And since the topic is pretty much the worst part of the relationship, leveling up, I really don't think, and I'm a woman, and everybody can look and see that I am, and that I be female. And women talk more than men, mostly. Mm-hmm. And meaning not in the relationship, just period.
True.
And so we can go to another woman and say, So what did you feel? No man is normally going to another man and saying, what did you feel? They're not doing it. And I think that plays a major role in the results that we're seeing versus male and female in the relationship. I think I've talked to 2 or 3 women today, and then I talked to several yesterday. And it's the common denominator across the board. And my thing is, I really believe that it can happen, but I don't believe that we're seeing it happen, because until a person understands where they are emotionally, where they are, and face truths about them, their individual selves, I just really don't think that can really be addressed. Because until I realize I have a need for something, or until I realize that I have a space that I'm still wounded in, and when I realize that I don't communicate effectively and things like that, if I think I do, then I can't get help. And so it's bad as we want others and ourselves to level up to these places. I've always been accused of and told, you ask questions that cut to the heart. But most people think it's a good thing because they finally get results, or if something finally happens. And so that's why not only do I ask others those questions, I ask myself the same questions. What is this? And God, what is that? And God, Holy Spirit, what is the real truth about something? And he always accommodates. And until men understand that they must go deeper, because women are always trying to go deeper. That's why most conferences that are filled up is women. When you have a marriage event, mostly women. To the point now they come alone. Anything that you do, oh, let's go to a book club, it's mostly all women. If you say, let's do small groups, it's mostly all women. Anything that pretty much happens for information outside of on your phone or in front of a computer, it's mostly women reading the books, getting the information. So that means like, how can this thing ever balance out or catch up? Because most men today still don't read a book. And and they definitely don't read relationship and marriage books. We've already did the census on that and the status on that. And we know that to be true. And so the questions that I'm asking and the information I'm seeking and the things that I ask even God, it's like no different than us as a people and how people started way before us. And it'll be a miracle if we ever catch up to the level of where they are based on where we started. And it's the same way in the relationship with male and female. It's like God created them to be all of these amazing things. But if they don't see themselves as dominating and having authority and the power of who they truly are, and they don't seek out I don't mean, because what I'm finding out, I asked the person, I said, you gain a lot of information, but it's information not applied. And information not applied is just information. That some people are just professional informational seekers or professional students of whatever, but it doesn't mean that we see the transformation in their lives. And so what I am saying is, how do you help a husband and a wife level up in the bad when most of the time, if you go to counseling, you dragging them, they never suggest it until you're walking out the door. They never suggest, let's read this book together, normally on their own. None of those things are normally happening. This is like facts. This is not like an opinion. This is not something that you just think about. These are facts. So if these are facts, when you watch that female work so hard to support, to have their back, to be there through it all, and they think they leveling up, but they're not, because they don't even know what emotions are for real. They don't know how to lean in. They don't know what empathy is. They don't know how to feel compassion to a level that is necessary to be in a relationship. So I'm on the other end asking, it sounds good. And these are the desires that we have for all marriages. But one thing that I have learned is that you cannot make another adult do anything.
True.
And you can't make him read. You can't make him not just get information, but put into practice that they still don't know that they're not tapped into their emotions, feelings, or any of those things. They just think because I feel more than what I used to feel that I'm there. And it's absolutely not true. And it requires more than just saying, I'm married for this long, or we've been in the relationship for this long. It requires a level of transparency, saying where I'm located at, what I don't have in this moment, things that people will not say. They will not come and say, I am trying so hard, but I just don't even know how to even tap into those places. Like, because if they're not going to do it with their wife, most likely they're not doing it with another person. And so if men are not those kind of people to go say, I'm feeling, or how you feel, then how in the world are they going to get that true breakthrough and help that they need to maintain not just being married for a long time, but a marriage where all people benefit, not just the accuser of the brethren. And so I know I said a lot, but I've been talking a lot. And so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, no, I mean, everything you said is true. And I think for us men who have that space, who have somebody or people that we can call, and open up and share, hey, that this is what I'm struggling with, this is what I'm going through, or something like that. It begins to peel back the onion. It begins to open up some vulnerability in them, and then in the relationship, then it just now in the relationship there has to be the relationship just has to be safe. And that's one thing where damaging like conflict. That's one thing where conflict really sucks, because conflict damages the safety of the relationship. Because most of us in conflict, we end up saying something stupid or saying something harmful or hurtful about the person that we're married to or we're in a relationship with, the person that we love. And now that does not feel like a safe space that we can be transparent and vulnerable and things like that, because it's been a space where we have been the accuser, as you just said. We've been the accuser. You this, you don't do this, you do, you need to stop. So we've been constantly accusing one another. And so now that space doesn't feel like a safe space. And our relationship is the place that, especially if you're married, that's the place that should be outside of God, outside of you and God alone. That should be the next safest space that you have.
Yeah, I think safe space has several different definitions. I think safe space means the level of damage that's been done. Because I think about how long I've been married, or certain things I didn't like or whatever, but I still find myself saying the most intimate things that I'm battling or dealing with in the discussion. And even if it say it didn't go right or something after, I'll be like, you know what, I'm not talking about it again. But it's something about just me individually that brings me back, that I don't allow it to remain not a safe space. But there's people that you talk to based on how they think and the level of wounds and brokenness inside of them. They determine that this is no longer a safe space, and they live there. And,
And I think I think potentially because a lot of times in those instances, the person that they continually share with may use that against them, use that negatively or whatever.
I always say, can nobody destroy me with my story?
I don't think it's about, and I'm not even talking about you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
about somebody destroying them. I don't think it's about them feeling like somebody's destroying them, but I think it's feeling that it can make somebody feel like, you know what? If I'm going to observation, if I've observed that if when I share something with you, you turn around and make it be a negative about me. You turn around and use it and make me feel like I'm less than. You turn around and whatever. And I'm saying if somebody sharing their vulnerability in their relationship and the spouse is using it negatively against
Yeah.
them, then I don't think that spouse is a safe space
At all.
Yeah, and I don't think they should continue to
Yeah.
go back until
Because they're
some
trying
time.
to be healed or operate in the place of that place. And it's like taking a step forward and then get destroyed and then you're back.
Right.
And then I think you gave an illustration like that on Sunday. You take this many
Oh,
percentage
yeah.
and then you come back. And it's the same thing in the relationship. It's just like we talk about working on conflict and we talk about those things, but then you find yourself in those conversations that's doing everything that you're trying to prevent. And it's just cycles like a clock. And it just cycles. That's not, I don't believe it's no longer, unquote, the conflict. I believe, because conflict is a word, it has a definition, it exists, and anybody can enter into it. But conflict can happen into two people who that will enter into it and decide, I've lived like this long enough, and these are normally the results, and today I'm signing up for it again. It's just like, it's almost I don't even know, because I'm trying to make sure I don't say words that people don't use no more. It's like the worst form of mental illness. That you know the outcome, you know the feelings, you know the results, and sometimes it end in the relationship, in families, in aborting things and saying, I've lived like this long enough. And you know eventually that it can get there, but it don't stop.
And where I have a differing opinion or viewpoint about it than you is that I don't some people I don't think they sign up for it. Like I think I can use myself for example. I mean I've experienced having conflict and bad conversations, growth challenge, all this stuff in my relationship. Been married 34 years. We talk about this stuff on the podcast. But I am never intentionally going into a conversation with my wife thinking like, I already know how this is about to end, but I'm about to do it and I'm about to say it. I never intentionally go into a conversation. I don't sign up for it. It's just I'm in a conversation, it could be triggered, whatever. I don't like something, and the next thing I know, we're fighting for our position, our belief, our thought, our whatever, and then we at some point realize like, what are we doing? Like, and then we end it, and it's like now we feel yucky for a moment, and it's not, and I mean this is real stuff, and so that's the only place. I mean everything you said, I mean I agree with.
Oh, no.
I just don't. I guess I can only speak for myself. I don't sign up for. I don't intentionally go in looking to say I'm ready to have this out, and I know how it's going to end. I don't sign up for it. It just catches me off guard.
No, what I believe, this is now my
Yeah,
opinion.
that was just me. That was just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, no, I'm not trying to take away what you said.
No, you
because
have
that's
yours.
your,
You got
yeah.
yours, yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, that's what we say. I was caught off guard. And I don't intentionally sign up for that to be the outcome.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I can agree with that to some point, And so what I am saying is, if it keeps happening, that means that it's something about the individual or the individuals that's in this process, that they ain't fixed something, that they keep showing up with the same stuff that's still throwing them off or unquote taken off guard.
100.
And so that means that I have to be intelligent enough to look and say, hold up. So if this same thing is still affecting me, then I ain't fixed it.
100.
Like I always say, how people read all around in the Bible, tell me, oh, I read the Bible in the whole year. Like we do that every year. But I'm not reading the Bible in a whole year for individual certain things that I am working on. Do you see what I'm saying? I am constantly gaining more knowledge and information in hearing something from a whole different perspective each time I do it. But there's individual things that I know that needs to be corrected. So I am digging in a whole different space to get help with that. So that means that if I am digging to get those type of things resolved, then why is common sense not saying, dang, I did it again. Dang, I did it again. Dang, I did it again.
Well, let me ask you this question, though. In this process of reading the Bible and then studying and learning and things like that over the course of your time, over the course of your walk with Christ, haven't there been many things in your life that have leveled up and have gotten better and have changed, whatever?
100%. But I noticed that there are thus in a certain areas of the relationship, those same things keep happening.
Yeah,
And so
you're not
no,
a finished product.
100%. My relationship with God and us, you know what I'm saying? The way I know how God loves, the way that I love people, all of those things, we can see the fruit, but we're talking about the worst parts of a relationship that keeps tripping everybody up to the point till it gets so bad over time where there's no more relationship.
Yeah, they run off to other relationships, cheating, divorce, all kind of things.
Yeah, and I don't even want to say run off or cheating. Sometimes people just get tired of living a certain way. It doesn't mean that they
that
have
happens
to.
too.
Yeah, so I'm talking about it. Everything doesn't have to be like I ran off and hooked up with someone, or I ran off and cheated. None that don't always have to be. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be that. But yeah, people do divorce, but it doesn't mean they divorce because somebody was cheating, or they divorce because they just ran off. No, people live in a state of stress, in a state of confusion and chaos over time. As you develop, you should develop out of a place where you want to live in chaos and you want to live in a space like that. That should be a human nature, period. As you grow, if you lived in a life of trauma and confusion, you shouldn't want to live there no more. And so divorce is a horrible thing and it's a horrible word. But if people can't make the adjustments and they can't grow in their emotions, communications, and different things, sometimes that brings them to those spaces.
It does.
And I don't think a person it's a desire. I just think it's like, okay, is this how I want to live? And it's a sad thing because that means that you're not being heard or they not being heard.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with any of that.
Yeah.
I think on top of that, that statistics prove it leads a great number of people out of their intimacy into intimacy with somebody else, and because statistics show that, I mean, especially even in our practice over 30 years, probably 70% of the people have had there's adultery being in a relationship or whatever. So that's a major part of relationships today.
Yeah.
And some it leads to divorce. But when you get down to the brass knuckles, a lot of it gets back to we did not have the ability to overcome the conflict. We didn't have the ability to level up in the worst part.
I don't know if it's overcoming conflict, overcoming growth and change, and be willing to
Overcoming growth and change?
you have to be able to grow and change to overcome conflict.
Absolutely.
And so it's not that we didn't overcome the conflict, we did not make the adjustments and the changes in our
I
lives.
think you're saying the same thing
Well,
I'm saying.
I guess if the viewers are hearing it that way.
if I don't overcome the challenges and changes, then I'm not going to
Yeah, but we use
overcome
the
the
word
conflict.
conflict so much that we remove it from the persons and the people. It's the people. And it's like we can use the word conflict all we want.
But
it's
conflict is
like-
not conflict in and of itself. Conflict comes
know. Mm-hmm.
when two people get in the Cain mode,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
And they begin to say things that their IQ has shrinked up. And now they're saying things more out of emotion, out of hurt, out of pain, out of fear. In some cases, in people to harm, to cut, to hurt,
Yeah.
and things like that. And all these things bring about conflict or whatever. So I agree with you. I don't think that I know we're different in that. I know there are certain words you like saying and don't like saying. And you
No,
have
the
that,
word-
you have that
no,
right.
what I'm saying is our
But I don't
focus-
think you can. I don't think you can detach people from conflict.
Yes, but I'm saying just picture it like this. If I only talk about conflict, I'm focused on not having conflict. Sometimes people don't think about, oh, dang, that means that's me.
That was one of the bullets that I wanted to bring. Go ahead.
No,
You
go ahead.
going right into it.
Okay, so it's like when so I'm not saying that they're different.
No, you cool.
Yeah.
You going right into it.
So what I am saying is, if I always talk about the orange, but I never say the orange have seeds, and a baby that don't know that, they will eat the orange, but they will choke on the seeds. What I am saying is, I only use the word conflict, which I know it takes two humans for it to happen, but it removes you because you're focused on, how do I not have conflict tomorrow? How do I not do this? No, you need to focus that it won't happen if it's no you. It cannot happen unless you decide to change. Instead
But
of
most
saying,
people don't.
change the conflict, change you.
Most people's automatic go to in the moment of conflict is the other person. It's what they did, it's what they said, it's the way they did, it's the way they said it. Most people's automatic go to is the other person.
Automatic.
Which leads to one of my bullet points or thoughts of this episode was, hey, I just might be the cause of some of the conflict.
But somebody can live through it like 100 years, and then all of a sudden they have a aha moment.
Well, every episode that we have, I hope they have an aha moment. I mean, that's we're giving content. So I hope they do have an aha moment through this today.
I mean, I understand.
But I think that's bigger than what I just said, because the reason why I think it's bigger, because we are people. We deal with people. We have conflict. We deal with people who have conflict, and 99.999 times out of 100, in the moment of conflict, most people's go to, even if it's internally, it's, dang, there they go again. There he go again. There she go again. You said that. No, you're tripping. Yeah, it's the other person. And so, what I'm saying is, hey, we need to have an understanding is that, and I'm being having a play on words, saying I might be the cause of some of the conflict. Yeah, we are. Both of us, all of us, we are the cause of conflict. If it's true that you said that you can't have conflict without two people, then that means that it doesn't matter who started it. It takes two to engage into the conflict. Because if not, if it's just one person yelling or saying something off the wall or whatever, and the other person doesn't engage into it, that's not conflict.
No, they're just having a war with themselves.
That's just one person having a war within themselves. But when you get that pickleball match going, they used to say tennis all the time. Well, now we say pickleball. When you get that pickleball match going back, and you in the kitchen, if y'all don't play pickleball, y'all don't know what the kitchen is. I ain't talking about the kitchen where you cook food. But now you in the kitchen in that pickleball match. Now, we should both be able to say, you know what? I was a cause of that conflict. Not necessarily the cause, but I was a cause of that conflict.
Yep,
and I think that is that's vitally important to even beginning to think about changing. It's almost kind of like, and I'm not saying I support this, but it's almost kind of
So
like,
if you don't support it, why you about to say it?
because people know this analogy. That was a good point. But people know this analogy. Hi, my name is John. I'm an alcoholic.
Oh, okay.
You know, and so they said, you know, acknowledging that I'm an alcoholic is the first sign to trying to get free from being an alcoholic.
But I got a
I know we
problem.
don't. I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, I'm
No,
gonna let you say it. I'm gonna let you say it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I got a problem if you not been an alcoholic for 20 years and you still
And you're
showing
still
up
saying,
saying
"Hi,
I'm
John,
an alcoholic.
I
Absolutely. That's
got
a
my
problem.
20-year coin,
Yes,
but I'm
that's a
still saying
problem.
John, I'm an
Yeah.
alcoholic." So you're identifying yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I say I'm not saying I support that whole method, but I think understanding that, saying, hey, you know what? Looking yourself in the mirror, in your journaling, in your time with God, and things like that, saying, you know what? I am a cause of this conflict. And I'm absolutely wrong if I think that it's only the other person. I am absolutely a cause
Yeah, and
in
I can
this
say that
conflict.
from the perspective of it takes two.
Yeah, same
But
thing.
I won't agree that in the conversations, the things that are being said or done is both people's problem or fault.
What do you mean?
Meaning, like, say, let me see. If a person come and they bring something and then you go left or say something or whatever, and they like, what just happened? I was just trying to do this, and I was just trying to give you this, and I was just this.
It depends
this.
on how they say it.
Okay. So, ooh, sorry.
It depends on how they say it, because how you say something
All I'm saying
engages or not.
what I am saying is eventually it becomes conflict, but it doesn't mean that the other person was the reason that there is conflict.
I can agree with that.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I can agree with that. But yeah, we just might be the reason for the conflict. Another thing we're talking about leveling up in our marriage, but we kind of put a lot of emphasis on leveling up in the worst. If we need to level up in the worst, and everything is not just about conflict, but conflict is a major part of relationships. But another area we need to level up in the worst, and we kind of mentioned it a little bit, is leveling up in our connection with God. Because if there's inner turmoil within us that's causing us to have conflict with our spouse, if we level up in our connection with God, He will point that out to us. He will speak to us. He will help us in those areas. But a mass majority of people in marriage and in relationships have a very minimal, some not at all, connection with God. And so if I'm speaking to as many marriages as I can and relationships as I can and people that are watching this podcast, I would say that you would want to level up in your connection with God. I think another thing, like leveling up in our connection with God we both have said this, has a major part to do with us still being together and married for 34 years. Because even as we've gone through life and we have very different personalities, different strengths and weaknesses, different things like that, and, we can both be strong-willed at times and all this kind of stuff. It can cause friction at times in our relationship, but because our connection with God is so strong that it always pulls us back to reality. Back to reality. Some people know that.
Okay, yeah, you keep saying stuff.
That's from 8 Mile.
Okay.
The movie 8 Mile. But it pulls us back. But I think, this is good. Earlier you were mentioning, some people that just can't deal with the conflict, they can't deal with it. Especially if you don't have a great connection, if you haven't leveled up in your connection with God, it's like we love God and we're connected to God, but you can't say that in time. Sometimes we ain't had a 5-second thought like, man, I ain't gonna keep dealing with it. Why am I keep dealing with this? That when we're in that Cain mode, we might have that thought. But when our IQ opens back up and our heart opens back up and it opens up to God and opens up to red, we like, no, I'm not leaving my spouse, or I'm not like, That's not enough to divorce. That's the, we come back into something like that. But what about somebody who does not have that connection with God? It's very difficult.
It's not that it's very difficult. We see it happen every day because they go through with it. And I don't, and see, like I say, I be female, I be a woman, and I have just watched so many women do everything known to man to try to get them to grow and to be connect with them and to this one I listened to. Well, he's the same person, but he had one was by himself, and people, I don't know if they know the guy Jay, but he does phenomenal podcasting and the communication piece. And it's like the points were so unbelievable. Just like he one of the guy who was a communication specialist, and he was saying some people just constantly over explain and over try to talk and over try, and making it simple and simplified is the best way of results. They said the more they keep trying to go over it and over it, they're justifying and they don't know it. And they're trying to come to these terms, and it brings more pain and more conflict because they're still going on and on in the whole thing. Like, okay. And it says that when a person says to you, so what did you mean by that? Or you ask questions, they said that is the most educated, pretty much way to go. Wow, that's never happened before. The most educated way to go, but they find it in their, why would I do something like that? And I mean, I said, oh my God, the next day you bring some information. I mean, it was just phenomenal. And I was just like, wow, just like if I say something and then I say, all you gotta do is say yes or no. But what if I wanted to, and the man was saying, no, the simple is better. And I had never heard, I mean, I've been around a long time, but the way this man broke it down, because he's the expert in that area, I was just like, whoa. And then when he talked about the tone, I mean, if I had a thing, I was like, okay, check, da da da. That part's me. You know, it's like as you listen to it, if you truly want to change, you should be able to identify what you're in and yourself. It shouldn't be listening just to hear about another person. And a lot of people retain information just to be able to be right some more or to use it against.
Because it goes back to that
Yeah, I'm
99.9999%. We're
like,
looking at the other person.
and it's just like, God, when will, not just the body of Christ, but period, will we make marriage look like how you wanted it to look? And wake up and do marriage like you created it. And quit wanting to create these wars, because wars are always created because you want to be right, or you want to be right and you see it your way, and no, you see it your way. And the man even, I couldn't even believe it. He says, yes, you did. No, you didn't. You don't even have it recorded. Did you record it? Did you have a I mean, it's just like everybody sees it that way. He say, even in that, that's all wrong to say, because you're still fighting for your way and trying to prove a point. And he broke that thing down, and it was so beautifully said. And it was like, wow, a man has this information and is giving out this whatever. And it's like, I've sent it out to several people, you know, and it's just like, when will we decide that I don't want to go to war, and that I don't want to live like this, and that you can get strong enough and you can get whole enough that the moment you know that that person just says something that normally takes you to these places, that I don't care if it's 1 minute in, and I don't care if they say I'm still talking. Oh, you gonna walk away? Whatever it takes to break that cycle, you do. Just like I broke a cycle today where when my walk person don't walk with me, I don't walk. And it normally starts out our first 2 days, every single time we plan it, and we've been doing it, trying to do it for a year. It's always that phone gonna get that text message, and that person's gonna say, I'm running late, or this or that, and it gives us a reason not to go. So when it happened today, I saw the cycle and I said, I bet you I won't not go. I got dressed and I drove and I did it myself because I know that if I didn't, the cycle is broken. And here we go again, and it not happen. And so it's the same thing with anything. The only reason that I got a different result is because I did something different that I normally will not do. And it's just like, I'm a whole grown adult, so I can't walk alone. And so, no, I did it. And then sent the picture and said, look. And they was like, oh my God, you did it by yourself. Absolutely. Because I'm on a mission for change. And so it's no different than anything else. But if a person don't understand that they're wounded and that they're hearing certain things, like he broke it down in the thing, you could be hearing it from a whole different space because it's all about you and your
100.
feelings. Your feelings and all of those
100.
things, and it's like, and if then he said, if a person is trying to express their feelings and you can't even lean into that, and he said, and then you still make it about you, he's like, you missing the whole thing. You're tearing up the relationship. He said you're causing this gap and this distance
100.
that keep on taking place, and that's when I mean where they can have good intentions that I want to be in this relationship, but the gap can get really big.
Absolutely.
Till you almost need a miracle to close it. And so I was like, this cannot be nothing but it was just unbelievable. But that's just how good God is to me. When I have questions and I want to know stuff, instantly, he's just like, it's instantly. It's been this way my whole life. I can be whatever, and I talk about something, and then I say, look at this book. Or and look at we in now. And look what we just joined. All of those, it's always been that way if you're seeking and you're knocking, and he will reveal and send the information that is needed. People that don't get it or whatever, they're not seeking.
That's true.
They're not knocking.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, we'll wrap up with this point. One thing that's really needed and to help us level up in our relationships, level up in our marriage, or level up even in the worst. This might be really a big one too. That's to help level up in the worst is something that's real simple. Be kind to one another.
You see, they can't see my face, but my face is
Be
like,
kind to one another. And I said, that sounds so simple, but in the worst,
yeah, you're not.
that's not easy. That is very difficult. And if we could learn to be kind to one another in the worst, man, that could really help us level up.
And like you said, that
relationships.
seems so simple, but I don't want to call it disobedience. But I'm a realist when it comes to God and his word. It's like if that's one of the fruits of the spirit and he asked us to do it and we refuse, then I don't know what else to call it. But if I just poured my heart out to you and you wounded me, it's hard for kindness to show up in those moments. It's not just saying be kind or someone is being unkind on purpose. No, they could be hurting and they can be wounded in those moments. And that's the last thing that they're thinking about. They're trying to recover. And so I don't like just throwing out blankets.
So give us an example of what you mean when you said somebody was wounded and they can't be kind or something like that.
No, meaning like, say if I bring a situation or we're listening to one of our clients and they were like, they just did that and they purposely was trying to wound me.
We're making it up. So they just did what?
Try to make me feel pain by saying, I don't value you.
Okay. All right.
Let's just say that. What husband or wife says to I don't value you. That's like a blow.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and say, in the worst, be kind.
Oh, you say be kind. Okay.
Or to be kind. However you just use that. And it's like,
Well, I think that first of all, it's obvious the person who said I don't value, they're not being kind. That's obvious. They're not being kind.
yes, but
And
it's two people in the relationship.
Right. So that is the initiator against that leveling up of what we're talking about right there. That's not being kind. Whatever you're feeling, Even the Bible says, speak truth in love. So whatever you feel, you just come and regurgitate that on somebody. That's not being kind.
Yeah.
And
So what would you do? Would you be kind back in the midst of that?
so if the person said, if somebody said that to me, then I would hope that I would, what Jefferson said, breathe, take a deep
People
breath,
don't even breathe and just have a normal conflict.
and then be able to say, you know what, that hurts.
Wow, that's funny.
That hurts. I don't know. I'm not going to say you intentionally meant to hurt me with that. Maybe you did. You have to answer that. Did you mean to intentionally hurt me with that? That's what I would want to say.
That's why I'm over here saying that's funny.
That's what I would want to say. That's
Yeah.
that's really
Well,
leveling
maybe
up.
we can say
That's
if
leveling up right there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level. Not just leveling up, but if we could literally say the things that we truly mean, but it takes a level of you tapping into your emotions to be able to even
Yeah,
do something like
I
that.
have not run into. Yeah, I agree. I have not run into anybody yet in conflict that just in the moment when they're in Cain mode, that they can think about what is really beneath the surface and speak to that versus speaking out of
If you listen to those two videos, it'll teach you how.
emotions. I'm not saying I haven't heard teachings on how to do it.
Okay.
I'm saying I haven't seen people who
Actually
can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because the brain shrinks and the
No,
emotions
it's
the
called
emotions
like
kick
when
in.
the blood flow goes to those places and the way it shuts off things.
Yeah.
People cannot see it through the science eyes and how God made the human body.
Right.
So they don't understand why is this happening. And it's like, because God never meant for you to enter into that state at all.
No, it was a defense mechanism.
Yeah,
built
it
for
was
a
never
defense
meant for
mechanism.
when you
Safety.
enter into those places. It should be true, real danger.
Exactly.
To save your life.
Exactly.
You shouldn't be living in a marriage and living in your household trying to save your life.
But your brain don't know the difference.
I understand, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't be
Yeah,
happening.
they don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying, why do you even have to be put in a life or death state in a marriage?
Right.
And we're not talking
It
about
should be
abuse.
the safest place.
It should be the safest space. Why do you have to always be fighting for your life?
Yeah.
And we don't mean getting hit, cussed out.
No.
We mean just living
Yeah.
day to day, and then conflict arise.
Quit using that word.
Yourself and yourself arises and causes conflict, because that's how I see it. And so it has to be able to be, I don't know, I don't even know what to say. Sometimes when I come on our podcast, I carry relationships and people's ability of just being tired of being tired, that sometimes I just have to like do like the back in the day when I used to look at wrestling, just tap out, because it's like, this is just overwhelming of the thing that God wanted to be and desired to be so beautiful. And to have companionship and to have someone that you can dwell with, and to be completely naked, just like it talks about in the book of Genesis, naked before each other without it feeling like anything is wrong with it.
Naked and unashamed.
Yeah. It's like, but I'm naked, but I'm ashamed because you made me feel that way. And I think what breaks my heart the most is that what I feel that breaks God's heart. And that is, he never intended for us to live the way we live in relationships. And if any part of it, which we know that for those who are in Christ, there is no condemnation. But if I had to feel bad about anything, or felt that God felt bad or felt some kind of way towards us, which I know he doesn't, it would be in that area of disappointment. Like, dang, that's the part that nobody is conquering and nobody is winning in. Even the ones that you think that's on social media and have all of this stuff, whatever. But if you get behind the scenes to see how they live and what they had to go through and those type of things, you'll be like, wow. And so I guess what I am saying is, When will people finally tell the truth? To be able to truly help people and tell the truth about where they truly are instead of pretending. Because not only are you getting in these relationships, but you're bringing other people into the relationships, which we call children. And then they have to hear you cuss each other out. They have to hear the hollering and the screaming all day. They have to hear, and then once again, now you have produced another you, another something that God don't want to happen. And it's just like this cycle in the body of Christ. Because the majority of the people that I talk to, the majority of is people who say that they are believers. And most of them are not winning in this area. And it's the saddest thing to watch.
Very sad. All right. Well, we will end it on that. If you've
That
gotten
didn't
to this,
sound like no empathy or compassion. You said very sad. And so now, yeah, where the empathy and compassion? Lean into that a little bit.
I mean, it's very sad. I mean, extremely sad. I mean, I agree with you.
Okay.
I think I can't do any better than what you did. You really laid it out.
Okay.
You laid into it. I mean, I'm 100%. You laid into it. Yeah. And so I don't have anything to add to it other than I agree with you. But I do want to say, if you've gotten to this point in the episode, I know this was just like a conversation between that it was really between us, and we allowed y'all in on it. But, go into the comments and please, comment and share with us, what do you feel about, leveling up in the worst, how difficult it is for you to level up in the worst, throughout these things, the different things that she shared or I shared, what do you feel about it? You don't have to agree with us. We're open if you don't agree with us. We love the fact that some people who watch our podcast are believers. Some people who watch our podcast may not be believers.
Yeah.
We want to get this out to the world. We welcome this to everybody. And so, we want to hear what you have to say. And we try to get back to those comments as much as we can. Mm-hmm. And so I'll say thank you for watching another episode of Next Level Marriage Podcast, where I am one half of your dynamic duo. Go by the name of Dr. James Bird, always accompanied by my lovely wife, who goes by the name of
Dr. Angel Bird.
And together we are
the Lovebirds.
We'll see you next week.
This is how we learn what real love proves. Next Level Marriage Podcast. We're calling you to something deeper, something pure and true. This is how we learn what real love proves. Next Level Marriage Podcast. We call